You wake up. Twitter is gone. The United States is nothing but a mere figment of your imagination. Your kidney is cut up. You're bleeding. There's the queen of the Mongols on top of you.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to Unbelievable, the podcast where I tell my good friend and also good enemy and okay lover, Luis, two unbelievable historical stories.
And I try to figure out which is which.
Today, we have a theme because I received some feedback that our episodes do not have enough female protagonists. So today, This one's for the girls. We are tits out for the women, free the nipple for the powerful girlies of history. Luis and I are both tits out right now.
We're ready to do something special for all the ladies
we know
in the world.
our tits are not the important ones, but these are ally nipples that we have out right now. Luis actually is wearing a tie still, but it's nice because it frames his nipples. So just
I'm a working man, so I have to be always in a professional setting, regardless of the state of my nipples, the exposure of my nips, if you will.
Yeah. It's completely. That being said, before we get into our two stories here, Luis, do you have a little warm up fast fact for me that I can guess is true or false, and bonus points if it is regarding women in some way?
I am so sorry.
If your fast fact does not pass the Bechdel test, Luis, you will be executed on the spot.
Well, take me now, executioner. Because my question for you, Kurt, true or false? David Bowie is named David Bowie because of one of the biggest bands of the time.
Okay, wait. I know this one. Yeah, he's named David Bowie because of some other David and the Monkees, right?
That is so true.
I think that's true.
That is absolutely true. David Bowie's real name was David Jones, and his nickname was Davy Jones. But who was the biggest Davy Jones in the 60s in Britain at the time? Well, Davy Jones, the guitarist of the Monkees, of course. Of course. And so in order to not compete with Davy Jones of the Monkees, Monkey Davy,
as his friends call him.
Yeah, he didn't want to compete with Monkey Davy, so the other Davy decided to stand out from the crowd and give himself a really fun, quirky Bowie.
Little Bowie action. Very cool.
Little Bowie act. That's not Bowie. Never mind. Go on. Stop the podcast.
Not even close to passing the Bechdel test, by the way.
That's rough, Sorry. I apologize, everyone. Yeah, well, no, never mind. With these jokes, we are on the edge of cancellation.
We're at DEFCON 4. The podcast can be stopped at any moment.
We are at 11:59 in the nuclear clock.
Yeah,
seriously.
This is one of my fears of doing this episode is that we can't take anything seriously.
Yeah.
And I was like, I fear we're putting ourselves in a situation where we're like, we have to take this episode seriously because of the theme, and then we are just simply not going to be able to.
Yeah.
Either way, before we say anything stupid, to the stories. Quickly.
I think we must jump into the story, Skirt. I've been, you could say, boiling from the inside out, mostly because it's warm where I live. But secondly, because it's the expectation and the excitement flowing through me like a soft, warm river.
Oh, okay.
And with that,
wow.
as I close off this guided meditation, I am going to hand off the mic to you, Kurt.
Yeah,
Let's
please, for the love of God. Before we get into this first story, Luis, I have a little joke for you, okay?
Ooh, I love those.
This pregnant woman is taking a walk outside, and suddenly she sees a bear, and of course the bear startles her. So she and her husband are worried about the baby, so they go to see the doctor, say, do you think the baby's all right? And the doctor says, well, we can't really say anything for sure. It's possible that the birth could be affected in some way. And sure enough, the baby was born barefooted. Does this joke make sense to you, Luis?
Well, I understand the play on words of bear.
Okay.
And of the word bear. But then again, English is my second language, Kurt, and I've been wrong before, so.
No, you're right about the play on words. The part that makes it funny is to know that there used to be this belief that if a pregnant woman was startled by something, I think mainly an animal or obsessed with an animal, that it could affect the baby in some way that was related to the animal. So people did literally used to believe that it was possible if a pregnant woman was startled by a bear that the baby might have like a lot of hair or something because of it.
Interesting. So does this mean my mother was frightfully scared by a sea lion or by a baby dolphin when I was in the womb?
My guess is she was terrified by some idiot.
All right, Curtis, let's rock.
Coming out swinging, baby.
Yeah, let's get to this story quickly. Now I'm the one begging for it.
So our protagonist is a woman named Mary Toft. She was born in 1701 in Godalming, England. In 1726, Mary became pregnant. One day she was working in the field cutting weeds, and she sees a rabbit. She chases the rabbit to try to catch it for dinner, but she can't catch the rabbit. And in the following weeks, Mary is obsessed with the rabbit, and she has cravings for all these rabbit foods like rabbit stew, rabbit pie, fried rabbit. 4 months later, Mary goes into an early labor, and her midwife, who is a man named John Howard, pause for 1 second. A lot of the places that I was reading, they call John Howard a man midwife.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. Shouldn't it be like mid-husband or something?
No, it's not, because midwife, actually, this is a quick little extra fun fact for all of you.
Throw it in here, yeah.
Midwife comes from the German Mitwife, which means with. Mit means with. So it's just with wife. The person that's with the wife when giving birth. So a male midwife is just a person. It's not mid-husband.
Totally derailed my whole joke here.
I apologize, Kurt, but we are here to deal with facts.
I was going to say it's like when old people go to a doctor and they're like, our doctor is a woman doctor. Isn't that interesting? Like, our midwife is a man midwife.
Well, Kurt, I'm afraid that facts don't care about your feelings. Damn it. Oh, God. Oh, no. Cut me off now.
Yeah. For real. Get him out of here. Either way, though. So our manly man, midwife, husband, John Howard, delivers from Mary. First, he delivers something that resembles a pig bladder, then a cat's paw, then a cat's head, and then one by one, 11 dead rabbits.
Excuse me, from the woman?
From the woman, yes. She births all these things of something that looks like a pig bladder, a cat's paw, a cat's head, and then one by one, 11 dead rabbits.
Oh my goodness, that's like a magician.
It's quite something.
Yeah.
John Howard pickles them in jars and keeps them on shelves in his study. Yeah, I know, right?
It's a weird jump to go from, this woman just gave birth to some rabbits, dead rabbits. Pickle them time.
Yeah, he saw these and immediately thought like, ooh, could be nice decoration. So the story of this makes its way through England pretty quickly just because it's so strange. A lot of people assume that it's a prank or that it's made up, but when the story reaches King George, he's very intrigued by it. So intrigued that in fact he sends his court anatomist, who is a man named Nathaniel St. Andre, to inspect. So when St. Andre arrives at John Howard's house, he finds him actually in the middle of delivering a 15th rabbit from Mary, and then over the course of the next several hours that he's there, he watches John Howard deliver several more rabbits.
Oh my goodness! Did this woman ever deliver a child?
I guess I'll go ahead and tell you. No, in this story, she is not going to ever deliver a child.
Oh my goodness! Just rabbits keep popping out.
Just rabbit after rabbit. She's just a rabbit printer.
Just rabbits all the way down.
So while St. Andre is watching this, he makes some observations. One thing that he sees is that there's movement bulging in Mary's abdomen before each birth, almost as if the animals are struggling or trying to burrow their way out, which sounds terrifying to see in person.
Yeah.
He also notes that the rabbits are dismembered and crushed when they come out. He thinks perhaps from the pressure of being expelled from Mary's uterus.
Okay.
And finally, he notices that while Mary screams in pain when the rabbits actually come out of her, most of the time during the labors, she seems fairly relaxed, and she even makes some jokes back and forth with John Howard. So St. Andre returns to the court of King George I as a believer. He takes a couple jars of pickled rabbits and his story, and the king is completely amazed by both the story and the jars of rabbits. So the two of them arrange for Mary to be brought to London to be observed and studied. And for her trouble, Mary is promised a royal pension. So when Mary gets to London, she gets examined by the guy who's basically her biggest skeptic, this doctor named Dr. Richard Manningham. First, he makes a note that on the side of her stomach, there's kind of this bulging movement that looks almost like a rabbit leaping. Then he examines Mary's uterus and notes that it appears as it would if she were in the late stage of pregnancy. And while he's doing this examination, suddenly Mary starts convulsing. Her hands have spasms, her eyes roll back, her stomach bulges with motion. She has this sort of seizure that lasts for 2 hours, so violent that at one point Dr. Manningham can't even detect a pulse. But after 2 hours, the seizure stops pretty abruptly and she falls asleep.
Oh.
The next morning, Mary wakes up. She did not give birth to any rabbits, and she says she has no memory of the previous night. So things are kind of getting stranger and stranger here.
I was half expecting the room to fill up with rabbits.
For rabbits to just start pouring out of her.
Yeah,
like
just rabbit after rabbit.
Yeah,
just
like
a nice
flood
little,
of rabbits.
Stuff like that. One right after the other.
Yeah, right. So later that night, a porter in the house where Mary is staying tells the doctors of the court that Mary attempted to bribe him to smuggle pieces of rabbit into her room. Mm-hmm. Dr. Manningham confronts Mary with this. At first, she denies it. Then she says she only wanted the rabbit to eat it. He's not really buying this, so he tells her that the next step in the examination would be a painful exploratory surgery. And at this point, Mary breaks down and tearfully confesses that the whole thing was a hoax.
Whoa.
Yeah. So, what happened? Because now we know that she wasn't actually birthing rabbits.
Yeah.
But how is this happening and fooling people? Luis, are you familiar with Occam's razor?
I believe I am.
Basically, it's this way to reason things that states all things being equal, the simplest explanation is usually the correct one. And unfortunately, Occam's razor, I think, applies in this situation because the simplest explanation is the correct one.
Oh, no. Oh,
yeah.
Oh, no.
Yeah. So everyone strap in because we all got to go on this journey together. And let me tell you,
right.
this is
let's
just
all
so
hold
terrible
hands.
Let's all hold hands.
I think I know where this is going.
Yeah, everybody get in, circle up.
Get real close, get together.
Yeah.
Okay, let's take a quick deep breath. Just 1, 2, 3.
All
right, here we go.
So Mary was actually pregnant in the beginning, but she had a miscarriage. But after the miscarriage, her cervix was still open enough that the claws and body of a cat and several rabbit parts could be inserted into her womb with the help of her husband. The two of them, he's in on it too, yeah. The two of them invented this story of Mary being startled by a rabbit and then subsequently becoming obsessed with them. And then later, to keep the charade going, more rabbits were inserted into her vagina.
I just imagine this woman's husband just coming in after this woman has a miscarriage. Terrible thing. A lot of grief can come from it. And this man just comes in saying, listen, babe, hear me out. I know you're sad, but I've got this idea. And if we're lucky, we might make it big. However, one caveat. You have to shove a cat up there. I'm so sorry.
He said, okay, hear me out. We take a dead cat. Hear me out. We cut off the claws. Hear me out.
Hear me out.
No, I think what happened is he said he walked into his house and learns that his wife's had a miscarriage. And he's like, man, what a day. I just had my 15 pet rabbits die. If only there were a way that we could solve both of these problems at the same time.
Yeah, no, it's just the rabbit market those days was too big. There were too many rabbits around. You needed to find a new way to reinvent rabbits for the people of 1700.
Yeah, you want to sell these bad boys. You gotta pump the gas a little bit, Yeah,
you have to innovate. It's a
viral marketing campaign.
Right, you have to get a stranglehold on a market that is so wide reaching. You have to. Like I said, innovate, start from somewhere.
Right.
I don't know, man. Like these guys, they were thinking ahead, man. They were thinking ahead. Had these people been around when crypto was around? Oh, watch out, world.
I don't know how you've managed to connect someone pretending to birth rabbits to crypto. And I don't think I want to know either.
It's all connected, Kurt.
It's all connected.
Giving birth to rabbits, all in the blockchain.
Either way. So after all this happens, Mary becomes sort of a tabloid piece of the time. She gets ridiculed, made fun of, her stories increasingly embellished with every retelling. Saint Andre, for his part, his reputation is just completely ruined.
Saint Andre was the doctor, right?
Yes, he was the doctor from the king's court who went to examine Mary and was a believer and then brought her back to the king.
Gotcha.
He had actually already published a 40-page pamphlet called A Short Narrative of an Extraordinary Delivery of Rabbits about Mary's medical case 4 days before she was revealed to be a fraud. So this man wasted no time, by the way. 'Cause I think like between the time she was brought to London and she confessed was like 7 days. So like 3 days, he's like, I'm going to be famous. And then 4 days later, it's over.
This man's getting the publishing deal.
Yeah.
Yeah, now you gotta get in there with the printer, man. Like, oh man, no, he was again. Everyone here is just a go-getter, lucrative. Everyone's thinking about the gains, thinking about how we can maximize profit in this situation.
The reputation of all the doctors of the royal court is, of course, slightly damaged because they gave attention to this woman who was just completely lying to them. Mm-hmm. Mary makes several confessions over the years. A lot of them have slight variations. In some versions, she blames her husband for putting her up to it. In other versions, she blames Dr. Howard for manipulating her into the scheme. Sometimes she takes full blame. And on at least one occasion, she blamed a, quote, traveling woman for showing her how to insert rabbits inside herself and urging her to go forward with the hoax.
Right. You know, one of these famous traveling women who...
One of these traveling women,
It's like a lifestyle coach, you know? Back in the day, we didn't have Cosmo. We didn't have any, like, Men's Health. We had these traveling people that tell you, hey, wanna have a healthy marriage, wanna have a healthy pregnancy. Here's what to do. Here's what to do, ladies and gentlemen. Just open it up, shove it in there.
This traveling woman said 5 tips to be happier in your marriage. Number 1, put 15 rabbits inside yourself. Unfortunately for Mary, none of her confessions or apologies ever really make any impact because they pretty much get drowned out by all the tabloid stories about her.
Sure.
So, you know, this is kind of the end of her reputation. She can never be mentioned again in any capacity without being known as the Rabbit Woman. It's the end of St. Andre's medical career and reputation. It's kind of the end of it for everyone, really.
This is what, hey, and like 70 years later, the U.S. would say it's independent. Some could say, little domino, Mary shoving 17 rabbits in her. Big domino, the U.S. is a free country.
Declaration of Independence.
Declaration of Independence is written.
Actually, we got it, because what did the Declaration of Independence result in?
Big domino, Elon Musk buys Twitter.
There it is. Big domino, Elon Musk buys Twitter. So what do you think of that story, Luis?
Well, first of all, Kurt, I want to really applaud you for going straight into the point. You had just started telling the story, and bam, we are giving birth to rabbits. We did not hold any breaks. We went straight down the hill. We took out the safety immediately, which I appreciate.
No rising action. We go straight to the rabbit birth.
Straight, yes, rabbit birth or bust. That is insane. I think mostly because there are so many cases around history of scammers doing whatever it takes to fool people into this kind of thing. Like last story I kind of heard about this was about a chicken that would give eggs, that would hatch eggs with like Jesus's gospel on it or Jesus's face on it. And everyone's like, whoa, what is this miracle chicken doing? That's crazy.
Who comes up with these things?
I don't know, but people would go up to the chicken and like the chicken would give birth. Well, actually give an egg. Right. Pop out an egg, and everyone's like, whoa, it's got God in it. And turns out the woman was just grabbing eggs, painting them, and then shoving them back in.
Oh, poor chicken.
Right. So here's the thing. This seems like it's a similar thing, you know? I feel like people driven by capital gains and greed will do crazy, insane things. That's the worst part. That as out there as this story may seem, I am tempted to believe in it just because there are people that have done crazy things, and I wouldn't put it past 1700s England to come up with a thing like this.
Get into some shenanigans with some rabbits and cat claws and
so
such.
You mentioned this was early 1700s, right?
Yes, she was pregnant. I think it all took place in 1726 or 1727.
Okay, who was king at the time?
King George I.
King George I. All right. Cool. That's basically all I got. I can't get over the fact that it was 17 rabbits?
Yeah, let's see. Well, there was...
What was the initial figure, like when it was first reported?
Well, Saint Andre arrives when she's delivering the 15th rabbit, and then the sources I found just said 15th. That she delivered several more rabbits throughout the night, so probably around 18.
Jeez.
Plus the parts of the cat. I don't even know what the first thing was that was the pig bladder. And I think when she had the seizure, they had actually put more rabbits inside her, and that's what like was messing with her internal organs. So I think she delivered 18 rabbits. I have no idea what happened to the last 2 or 3 rabbits that they put in her.
Do we have any account of how she died?
She did not die of this. She went on to live the rest of her life.
She did not die.
No.
She's still around, pumping out rabbits here and there.
There's not really any history about that after that. I know she got in trouble with the law for some sort of like old-timey shoplifting thing. It was like a minor robbery, but it made the news because everyone's like, "Oh, the rabbit lady's back."
Oh, she's back. Yeah, she's
back.
So
I think she just died of old age, honestly.
Interesting. I see.
This was just a little pit stop on Mary's whole adventurous life, no doubt.
Yeah, just Mary was busy with her career goals. She was not ready to settle into one career path,
Well, much like how this story went straight to the birthing of rabbits, so did Mary's life, because she was only 25 when this happened, and she died.
Oh, Mary. It's kind of like the Tanya Harding situation. Like after the whole
That's true. Remember when Tanya Harding birthed all those rabbits? That was crazy. And people were
wild,
like, can she compete while rabbits are like falling out? Everyone's like, yeah, she can still skate.
Yeah. No.
I'm sorry, what were you gonna say?
I was gonna say, like after Tanya Harding got banished for the figure skating for life, she started doing a bunch of other jobs to try to hide out what she had done that she was implicated with. Like she was a welder at one point, she was a professional wrestler at another point. She really tried to get away from the whole Nancy Kerrigan knee capping thing. And I think Mary here was trying to do the same thing. Once you pump out a rabbit once and it's made a scandal once, and you're labeled forever as the rabbit birther. But listen, if she had continued this life of crime, Kurt, maybe she could have become like the inspiration for the next Batman villain. I don't know.
She said, "You shoplift, but do they call me Mary the shoplifter? No. You live in Godalming, but do they call me Mary who lives in Godalming? No. But you birth 18 rabbits one time.
One time. And all of a sudden, you're marked forever as the rabbit birther.
It was one little wild weekend. Get over it, people of 1700s England.
Jeez.
Girls just want to have fun. So, shall we move on to the next story?
I think I'm ready, Kurt. I'm ready.
You've processed
enough. We've been through a lot.
We really have. Okay. So, for this story, Luis, I assume you're familiar with Genghis Khan, famed emperor of the Mongol Empire.
I've heard the name once or twice.
Familiar with his work? Great.
Yeah.
When Genghis Khan died, he was succeeded by his son Ogadai Khan. Ogadai was a pretty good ruler at first. He showed a lot of strength and leadership. He did this thing that was really smart where he distributed the lands and possessions of Genghis Khan amongst sort of some of the key people in the empire. So everybody was feeling like they kind of got a cut and was happy. And he also started a lot of conquests to expand the empire, which also made people really happy. After a while, he started spending more and more time binge drinking. And it was making it where he kind of was doing less to run the empire. So 2 of his wives, Altani and Gerald, start running more and more of the day-to-day affairs. Altani and Gerald are not the senior most of his wives, but they are considered the best suited to be in a leadership position, basically. And when Ogadai dies, he does not have anyone named to take his place. He had previously named his grandson Kuchu, but Kuchu was killed shortly before he died. So it's kind of this power vacuum. Nobody is really selected to take the spot. So one of his wives, Altani, takes this opportunity to seize power.
Nice.
She appoints close allies to high positions, and she, much like Ogadai did with Genghis Khan stuff, she divides up Ogadai's servants and slaves amongst his wives who have more social influence in exchange for their loyalty. So she kind of gets everyone on her side, and she's already been doing the job halfway for a little while, so everybody knows she can do it. So she fairly seamlessly steps into this position. Altani does really well as a ruler, actually. I have here a list of just kind of some of the like general good things she did as a ruler. She has fairly successful conquests, expanding further into China. She created an official festival to celebrate the 3 national sports of the Mongol Empire, which are archery, horseback racing, and wrestling.
And foosball.
And foosball, of course. And bowling.
Yeah.
No, she has this festival called Altadam. So every year on this day, all around the empire, they will have people competing in these 3 sports. And they also have the most popular version of it is this like sort of triathlon where you compete in all 3 of them.
Nice. At the same time?
No, but that would be pretty wild.
You're on horseback, going a little bit crazy.
Yeah, that'd be pretty fun to watch.
That'd be
No,
good.
but she updated a lot of laws and customs, a lot of them pertaining to women. The most notable one that she changed was this law about what social status prevented a woman from being forced into a marriage.
Ooh.
So previously, any woman not in the ruling family could be forced to marry. She changed it so that any woman born in a ruling tribe, so not a foreigner, and also not a servant, and also under the age of 15 cannot be forced to marry, which really feels like all of those should be the baseline. I mean, obviously you shouldn't have a society where any woman is forced to marry, but definitely not if they're under 15.
Yeah, well, Kurt, sometimes you just gotta put things in writing or else it's not gonna get followed,
That's true.
It's like technically murder was illegal in the early Roman Republic, technically, but it wasn't
Nothing is illegal if you don't get caught, Luis.
All right, Kurt. Okay, Kurt. All right. So what? You're gonna go ahead and marry a 15-year-old in the Mongol Empire?
Oh, stop the podcast. Get me out of here.
Stop
Quick.
the
Quick.
podcast.
Cut
Jeez.
cut everything.
We've had it. No, we're done.
I just talk about a little innocent murder, okay? Don't put me together with a 15-year-old.
Here we are having fun talking about murder, and then you have to bring up child brides.
Yeah. Another thing that Al-Thani did was she overhauled the mail system of the empire. So previously there was a mail system, but it was pretty disorganized.
Like post office or like men?
Post office.
Okay.
Don't worry. The mail system, the men system is flourishing, okay? It doesn't need any overhaul.
Yeah. Unfortunately, it's been flourishing all through history. Jeez.
But no, so one of the things that Genghis and Ogedai Khan had spent a lot of time working on during their lives was building this efficient road system to connect up the empire. They did it for the purpose of moving troops around quickly, so that if you need to move a lot of troops from one place to another, you're not having to cut across mountain ranges or go on roads that aren't direct routes. But Al-Thani looked at this and realized that there was a potential to improve the communications of the empire. So she had official fortified mail outposts built along these new roads with full-time workers and horseback transportation schedules.
That's nice. It's like a Pony Express kind of situation.
Yeah, exactly. So those are some of the just kind of generic good ruler things she did. Now I want to tell you about some of the more strange and cursed things that Al-Thani was known for. Okay?
Every ruler needs a little bit of this. Every ruler.
Come on. Let's
Okay.
dive in. Okay, first thing. Almost immediately after taking power, she had several people that she just didn't like killed. Which I think we'd all like to do. You can't blame her for that one,
I mean, you've got unlimited power. What are you gonna do? Get rid of the guy that bullied you in second grade?
Well, most notably, she killed her late husband's favorite concubine.
Nice.
Ogedai was noticeably close to one of his concubines, so much so that it was kind of an insult to his wives. So as soon as Al-Thani is in charge, she's like, yeah, kill her.
Right on.
Yeah, get her out of here.
Right on.
She had her own harem of over 200 men.
Hell yeah.
And she had this thing she would do after a conquest. She would pick 2 men from the conquered slaves and force them to fight to death. And the winner would sleep with her. And then in the morning, they would kill the winner.
Whoa.
I want to pause on this for a second.
Okay.
Is this a good idea or a bad idea? Okay, because hear me out, all right? For the winner, because they know that they're going to be killed in the morning. Al-Thani is sort of like his last meal,
Yeah.
Right? You'd think he's gonna, he's gonna enjoy it, right?
I hope so.
But the other side of it is, how passionately could you sleep with a woman who you know is gonna have you executed in 6 hours? I feel like it's kind of all or nothing. Either this man is giving it everything he's got, or he's like barely there. He's crying and trying to run away.
Well, what is it? Fear is the greatest aphrodisiac, right? I guess.
I guess so.
I guess in this case, and it has to be. But wait, what happens to the guy that loses? Oh, he dies. Right.
He's dead. Yeah.
Yeah, he's
to the
fully
death,
dead. Yeah. Nice. If anything, you both get a fun little romp in the hay. If you're the queen, of course.
Right.
And at the same time, you get a nice little spectacle of watching these 2 men die.
Right.
Or fight each other to the death. I think you're putting a lot of mind, a lot of thought into these warriors that were captured, Kurt. I mean, think of just all the planning that you have to do as a ruler to organize this.
Is there that much planning? I think you just get 2 guys and give them some knives and say, one of you needs to be dead. Go ahead.
I don't know. This queen is beginning to sound more and more just like she's girl bossing this whole thing. Seriously.
She is girl boss.
Yeah. She's gaslighting, gatekeeping. Girl bossing. Yeah.
Also, additionally, I think like apparently the winner of these fights must be winning by a lot, because otherwise the winner is gonna be trying to sleep with her with several
Oh yeah,
stab
with
wounds and some
injuries,
broken ribs,
straight.
and
Yeah,
stuff.
he was bleeding all over the duvet. Oh my goodness.
Yeah. So I don't know about this one, but I guess it worked for Altani.
I hope so.
Yeah. The next thing, remember the 3 national sports I was talking about?
Mm-hmm.
Altani was really athletic. In fact, she won many of her own Altadam triathlons.
Okay. All right. When you are the ruler, are you allowed to lose?
Yeah, I know. It feels like people might be letting you in, right?
I mean,
But I think that
we see what she's doing to the people who would die for her. So
I think the thing is though is that she was a pretty formidable opponent. So it was okay to like actually try, because she would win a lot of them anyway.
Gotcha.
She was particularly good at Mongolian wrestling, because the way Mongolian wrestling works, it doesn't actually matter if you're bigger than the other person. It's a lot more dependent on leverage and knowing the technique and the right ways to use your body.
Right.
So that was actually one of the 3 sports, that was the one she was best at. She would do this thing where if a tribal ruler sent a messenger to request an audience with her instead of the ruler visiting themselves, she would challenge the messenger to a wrestling match and only grant them an audience if they won.
Oh, badass.
Which seems kind of petty.
Yeah.
That's definitely upset some people, I'm sure.
And if you're as good as you say she is, Kurt, that woman did not receive a lot of audiences, I'm guessing. Because I don't know. You don't typically send your most formidable warrior to go deliver a letter, right?
Well, I'm glad you say that, because it actually led to this trend of messengers in the empire being selected partially based on their athleticism.
Nice.
Because they know, like, hypothetically, if we got to send them to the capital, they got to be able to throw down.
Right on.
I think we should do this in the U.S. Imagine if, like in Congress, because, they already work so fast, we should just slow the process down a little bit. Okay. If, like, every time someone wanted to be recognized to speak, they have to, like, wrestle Nancy Pelosi or something. I don't know.
I thought you were about to advocate to just greet your post person with just a swift kick to the shins, like every day. It's like, oh, got your mail. Oh yeah, man. Bam.
How about I give you a little 1-2?
A little 1-2. Yeah, whose mail are you going to give me? And the person's just on the ground whimpering. This is your new credit card that you ordered, sir. I'm only
your
doing
HelloFresh is here.
This is your past due bill.
So the probably most well-known thing that Altani did is she built the Khorram Khan Palace. Okay, so to explain to you what's significant about the Khorram Khan Palace, I got to go back and tell you about palace cats. Not palace like the building, palace like Dallas, but with a P. Okay. With me? Okay. Palace cats are a type of cat that live in mountainous regions in Asia.
Okay.
They're wild cats. They eat mostly mice, rabbits, and insects.
Oh my.
And they're known to be pretty aggressive. In fact, there's a lot of anecdotes about how the kittens will growl before they can even open their eyes.
Very cool. Same thing happened to me.
Altani absolutely loves palace cats, so she built the Khorram Khan, which is a palace in the valley of the Altai Mountains where there's a pretty big palace cat population. The Khorram Khan is designed to attract the cats. There's these large gardens populated with rabbits. The main buildings of the palace have open windows and doorways so the cats can come and go as they please. In addition to the normal palace servants, there's 30 servants just specifically dedicated to maintaining the palace cat presence. Every morning they put freshly killed meat in several clay pots around the gardens, and each month they release 100 mice into the gardens. 12 of the servants are just dedicated to making sure the cats don't destroy anything or attack anyone. They're armed with leather whips in case any overly aggressive cats need to be chased off. But it actually seems like the constant source of food and having plenty of living room makes them at least less aggressive than usual. They're like slightly domesticated. The reason why they have leather whips is because they're intended to be non-lethal, because Altani made palace cats a protected species.
Hell yeah.
At its height, the palace was actually estimated to be home to at least 70 cats. The cats would be regularly seen sleeping or lurking around the main rooms of the palace, and they became well known for this image of them perching on the roof of the palace. I think kind of like birds on power lines.
Oh, nice.
But it was known that the cats, a lot of them would like to sit up on the edge of the roof and watch guests and servants working and passing by. Mm-hmm. Understandably, Altani absolutely loves this palace. So much so that she's spending an amount of time there that it starts to interfere with her responsibilities running the empire. Mm-hmm. Some of the Noyon, who are basically the heads of state of the different regions of the Mongol Empire, are getting increasingly unhappy about Altani's lack of availability.
Cats. Oh.
Yeah. No, they don't care about the cats. They just care that she's off with the cats, not, running the place like she's supposed to be. And also, the more time she spends at the palace, the more her power starts to be eroded by people more in touch with the day-to-day affairs of the empire than her.
Right.
Finally, this all kind of comes to a head. Guyuk, who is the grandson of Ogadai, convinces Altani to stand aside and let him take power. And it's kind of the logical transition because at this point, Altani is 44 years old, so she's getting pretty deep into her expected life period for this time.
Right.
Guyuk also has a stronger claim to power than her because he's directly in the lineage, and he seems to be the favorite to be the ruler by most of the Noyon. So it's a pretty smooth transition. Guyuk convinces Altani to basically retire to the Koram Khan, and to ease things, he gives her 100 laborers to expand the palace gardens, 300 servants, and 50 concubines. So with these extra laborers, the Koram Khan gets expanded to be by far the largest palace of the Mongolian Empire at the time, because the gardens are so massive that it's almost like a wildlife sanctuary. So just in landmass alone, it's the largest palace.
Yeah.
Altani lives at the Koram Khan until she dies at age 53. When she dies, she's given what's called a sky burial. A sky burial is this method of burial that the Mongolians believed would allow a person's spirit to return to nature. So the body would be left with some prized possessions outdoors in a high place with the intention of being decomposed by natural elements or animals. Usually the animals would be vultures, but it doesn't matter what the animals are. The idea is just that it's kind of being broken down by the natural elements to return to nature. Sky burials were practiced in some regions of the Mongolian Empire, and they're actually still practiced in some regions of Tibet today. So Altani gets a sky burial. Her body is left wrapped in silk robes with jewelry on one of the cliffs near the Koram Khan. Allegedly, one servant saw a palace cat later that day dragging a severed arm, and he recognizes the arm to be Altani's because of this scar that's along the bicep from a wound she sustained in battle.
Nice.
He also sees that some of the gold rings are still on the remaining fingers, so he knows it's her arm.
Nice.
I think this is a really fitting image for like the last view of Altani, because it kind of remembers her in a way that shows like her warrior spirit, but also like her position and power.
Yeah.
And it also implies that she was probably eaten by the cats she loved so much.
Hey man, life's got to continue, If she was able to kill the person she slept with the night before, then I think her cats deserve little quick snack too.
Palace cats gotta eat, man. Come on.
Palace cats gotta eat.
Do?
Yeah, palace cats gotta eat.
So here's a little interesting note to end on. Altani may have saved the palace cat species.
Ooh.
During the Mongol Empire, palace cats, like a lot of wild animals, had been gradually declining because they have greater competition and their habitat is always shrinking because of human expansion into their territory. Present day, most of the palace cat populations in other areas have dwindled to almost nothing. The Altai Mountains is the only remaining flourishing population. So the theory is that Altani gave such importance to the palace cats, even, making them a protected species, which they still are in Mongolia today, by the way, likely saved them from eventual extinction. They were kind of on their way out little by little, and her doing this preserved them.
That's nice of her. I mean, she also had the big ass forest garden, so she also did that. She was ecological queen.
Quite the nature gal,
Yeah, feel connected with the trees.
She said, "Look, am I gonna have slaves and kill people?
Absolutely.
Yes. But
Yeah.
also, I'm the original crazy cat lady."
That's true. Yay. Hell yeah. Goes out to the forest for some long walks as her cats just devour everything they see.
Yeah.
Love it. That's a wonderful image. So that's her end. That's how she met her demise then, at the hands of maybe her cats.
Well, she died just of old age, basically.
No. Right.
But then she was eaten by the cats. I don't know. I guess if you want to pretend that she was eaten alive by the cats, you can do that too.
Yeah, my headcanon.
It's free and it's legal, Luis. No one can stop you.
Thank you. I do live in a free country. That's nice. I think she eventually. I mean, it didn't seem like she had a lot of troubles. Just the people that were troubling her were the people angry at her reign that she wasn't doing enough. But all in all, for whatever she's concerned, she did a great job.
Yeah. Well, they kind of were like, "We wish you would stop spending so much time with the cats," and she's like, "I'd love to spend more time with the cats," and they're like, "Maybe you should go spend all your time with the cats." Yeah, it's kind of a win-win for everyone.
Yeah, I think good work, her. She organized her life how she wanted it. She wanted to be surrounded by cats, and she fooled around.
Also, I just considered maybe this was always the end goal, because there was always kind of an expiration date on her rule. She didn't have any official title. She was just like indefinitely interim taking care of things. So, it's not impossible that this was just a plot all along to get a cat palace.
Yeah, it's like when you're on paid leave. Seriously. It's like when we're going on vacation, still getting paid. Oh my goodness. Yeah. What are you going to do? Everything you can, you know?
Well, it's more like she was like pooping on company time, you know? And they said, like, you need to actually do some work. And she's like, I don't think so. I'll just quit.
Sorry. Sorry, guys. I'm afraid I'm out of office for the weekend.
Yeah.
With my cats.
Yeah. Boss makes $1, I make a dime. That's why I play with wild mountain cats on company time.
Oh man, the dream, really living the dream.
Absolutely the dream. Yeah,
living the dream. That's great.
It reminds me of all all these jokes about like that we'll suddenly awake and we're just like a lizard sunbathing on a rock, or we're just like an ancient Etruscan or something. It's like you jolt awake, you have no idea what Twitter is. You're in the Altai Mountains, surrounded by cats.
You wake up, Twitter is gone, the United States is nothing but a mere figment of your imagination. Your kidney is cut up, you're bleeding, there's the queen of the Mongols on top of you.
A man is laying next to you. He needs to be executed.
So is that the end? Is that the end of
That's it. That's
our queen?
that. Well, the last image was her severed arm being dragged by a cat, Luis. I don't know what more can happen in her life.
No, Kurt. She seemed like a lady that was willing to do anything. So
she comes back with a vengeance. She wasn't all dead. She wasn't
just
all frozen.
Dead. And then they found inside her body 17 cats.
Oh, there it is.
Wow.
It's all connected. Well, what I forgot to tell you that the every one of the 70 palace cats or however many it was, they were all named Paul LaRue. So that's actually like the last little thing.
No, they were not, Kurt.
It's all connected.
It's all connected.
The cats actually invented Bitcoin. They might be Satoshi Nakamoto. We're not sure.
It's the Paul LaRue cinematic universe.
Yeah, the expanded Paul LaRue.
Paul LaRue. It's
multiverse.
It's the EPLU.
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
Okay, well, Kurt, quick question. How did the person that take over after this ruler do? Like, since they were complaining so hard for this woman to hang out with her cats, did this person do any differently? Do anything fun?
As far as the day-to-day stuff, I think he did pretty well. I mean, I don't know a ton about it because I didn't research it a ton, but I do know that the Mongol Empire was so big that it was just really hard to maintain. So I think after Genghis Khan, because Genghis Khan was kind of the chosen one to rule the empire.
Yeah, really.
After him, it was a lot of people just trying to maintain it as much as they possibly could. So, obviously, before this, you probably never heard the name Guyuk Khan before. So he was no Genghis Khan, but he did do a pretty good job as a ruler. He wasn't notably terrible.
I think my godfather was named Guyuk Khan.
Oh, very cool.
Yeah, Guyuk.
Maybe the same person. You should ask him about it.
I don't know. Guyuk Khan Gomez.
Yeah. Yeah, they hyphenated it, but that got left off.
Yeah. No, we call him Uncle Gooey.
Yeah.
Exactly. Wow. So okay. Wow. So this was just I guess, kind of 2 steps down from Genghis, right? Is what we're hearing. So Genghis dies, goes to this other ruler, and then this ruler
his son,
dies.
Genghis' son took over, and then he died. His wife took over.
Gotcha.
And then she stepped down for Genghis Khan's grandson to take over.
Gotcha. Okay, I see.
So it was, she was never going to be ruler forever. It was just kind of
no one ever is
until things start to fall apart. Well, that's true, actually. Well, that's so deep, Luis. That's amazing. Stop the podcast.
Stop the podcast. We're going back to our guided meditation.
I'm having an existential crisis. Stop the podcast. No one can be ruler forever.
I gotta lock myself in my room and go into the fetal position briefly.
Exactly.
All right, good. I think that's all my questions, Kurt. I think I'm set. We've been through a lot too. Well, I think, Kurt, it's time for our favorite part of this podcast.
Wait. Let's do it different this time. You do the first half, and I'll do the second half, and we'll try to put it together as seamlessly as possible.
Oh, really?
Okay. We'll do it really quick. Okay, I'm ready.
Close the microphone. We're about to do some Delhi
liberation.
Did you say liberation?
I thought you were just gonna say duh. Fine. Back to the old ways. 3, 2, 1. Deliberation.
Sorry, Kurt. I just got excited to say the word Delhi. You know me.
Oh, very cool. No, I appreciate it.
All right, Kurt. So remind me what the stories were, please, if you could be so kind.
So we have Mary Toft, who birthed, again, something resembling a pig bladder, cat's head, cat's claws, and around 18 rabbits who fooled briefly the court of King George I before being exposed as a hoax, and Altani, the original crazy cat lady who ruled the Mongol Empire, but eventually gave that up so she could go spend more time with her cats.
I like that both of these stories include some sort of small furry animal.
Yeah, I didn't think about that.
we found a through line on here. I appreciate that.
This is the women's episode, but also the small furry animal
Small
episode.
furry animal episode. This one's for you, small furry animals, also. All right, Kurt. So, okay, here are my thoughts. I think I said this. I said this at the beginning with the first story. I would not be surprised if this happened. It sounds outlandish, unbelievable, some could say, but I don't know. It seems very likely. People have done, in my opinion, way worse for the gram, for the Vine,
right,
for the attention of the public. Especially if you're in a relatively small part of town and you want to just bang up some controversy, you know.
And well, of course, she was supposed to get the royal pension for going to London.
Exactly.
I don't know if she ended up getting it or not. There's no record of that, but I think that was the end goal.
Well, yeah. I mean, if you have one way of getting to the king at that point, probably controversy, right?
Yeah.
As for the other one, I personally think, Kurt, that there should be a lot more controversy after the death of Genghis. It's all seeming too smooth for my liking. It's all seeming like everything's going fine. It's all seeming like you're not trying to conquer Japan as aggressively as the Mongols would. Where we're just spending our days just gallivanting out by the Mongol steppes, playing with our cats, bowling while on horseback, wrestling every single postman you get, you know. It sounds great. I want to believe, Kurt, like the X-Files. Because a lot of the time, I know it might not be real, but the world is better if we believe it's real. Much like Percy Jackson, right? It's not real. But if I imagine it, it is. The world, I like to believe in a world with magic inside, Kurt.
Yeah, ignorance is bliss.
Yeah, so I'm afraid as much as I enjoy the rule of this Mongolian wife-turned-leader, I think I'm going to go with the first story, that one being true, because it's so ridiculous. Really, it's so ridiculous, and I don't know, I'm getting a gut feeling, and I hope it's not a bunch of rabbits in there. And I'm going to trust the 17 rabbits stuck in my gut and
you're like, I'm getting a gut feeling, and then you seize for 2 hours straight.
Getting a gut feeling, and then that gut feeling disappears when they threaten surgery.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm going to say that story is the true one, and unfortunately the Mongolian story is not real.
Okay. Well, Luis.
Oh dear.
You're correct.
Ew!
You snake in the grass. Don't tell me about the transition of power after Genghis Khan died, because that was like the only true part of the story.
Really?
That was his son's name. And yeah, that's basically what happened. He was binge drinking too much, and his wife stepped in. It wasn't one wife after he died. It was actually several of them, and they I don't know for how long, but they ruled the Mongolian Empire for quite a while.
Interesting. I think what mostly got to me, Kurt, is where the hell was my boy Kublai? He comes soon after Genghis.
Who is that? Is that someone who should know? I'm not gonna lie. I was really relying on you not knowing very much about the Mongolian Empire.
I'm afraid I have some passing knowledge of it.
Oh no.
Whereas I'm pretty sure Kublai Khan, who is the guy that the Mongolian emperor, the Mongolian ruler who Marco Polo ran into when he visited China, supposedly, and also supposedly the ruler that attacked Japan, and then a bunch of typhoons rushed in and avoided Mongol attack of Japan.
Oh, that's right.
That's where
true.
Like the term kamikaze comes
I think that's later down the line though, when all that happens.
Okay. Well, I'll have to check it out. Because I think that's the first thing where I threw up a sign of this might be different. It's just no sign of Kublai at the time.
Yeah.
Because when Genghis Khan died, his Khanate divided into like five, right? Into like 5 different chunks, like the Golden Horde, then a different thing too that I don't remember the name of. I just remember the Golden Horde. So it just seemed too easy, like just to have a person gallivanting, enjoying their times as a ruler, you know?
Yeah, no, you're absolutely right. I did simplify everything a lot, just because it's hard to look up a story and then be reading like really in depth the history of it, and then after that make up a story that is not like really closely following what actually happened.
I will say, Kurt, the details you included in this was incredible. Like,
I know this story. I got myself with this one. Like, it was so good. I'm like, I wish it was real. I want the cat palace. Come on.
Yeah, and like even the postman thing situation, the warrior tribes that the winner gets killed. I thought that was a little bit too Aztec Empire for me.
Well, okay, I will say this. A lot of this story is like I just pulled different things from different places. So I don't remember, but somebody did overhaul the mail system with the new system of roads they had.
Gotcha.
And the making two men fight to the death and then sleeping with them, that was a legend about this African queen. I want to say her name is Nzinga. So that might have happened. I don't know. I couldn't get verification on whether it actually happened or not. But a lot of the individual pieces of this, except for the cat palace thing, are true. They're just all kind of smushed together in this big stew of a made up story.
Stew, much like rabbit stew that Mary liked at the first story. So, Kurt, tell me, all of that was real?
All of that was real, unfortunately.
I kind of wish it wasn't, really. Like, a lot of these stories were really upset that the fake ones are not real. I'm really upset that the real one is real.
Well, I'll say this, and for everyone listening, this is something for the future, because I had just such an amazing true story to tell Luis. And when I pitched it to him to make sure he didn't already know it, he said, "Oh, I know everything there is to know about these two amazing women who have some of the greatest old-timey piratey quotes I've ever heard." So I couldn't use that. So then I had to go to my gross story about cat claws and such coming out.
Wow, I brought this upon myself.
I didn't want to tell you this story. You forced my hand.
I see how it is.
I would have let you live in blissful ignorance.
Well, Kurt, we all have to wake up sometimes from this delusion that is childhood. It's time for me to become a man. I have a mustache now. It's time for me to hear these tough stories that I don't get to hear often.
The boys got to learn.
Boys got to learn, exactly.
Tell them about the rabbits.
Oh, no.
Luis, this is your 13th birthday. You're a man now. I think you're ready to learn.
I think you're ready.
My
grandpappy told me this story. His grandpappy told him that story. It's time for you to hear about just rabbits clawing out of you. I think the worst detail of that whole story is how the rabbits were like dismembered.
Yeah, I can't square that because I think they were in pieces when they were put inside her. But multiple people talk about that, like her stomach is bulging out. So I'm like, were there some live rabbits in the mix?
Yeah.
I just don't want to
I don't even
think about this anymore, to be honest with you.
I think we are going to stop the podcast just for our own sake. And I know you have
Let's talk about something else, like how much I'm losing by right now on the score, because I know it's abysmal, right?
That's true. So I've got the scoreboard right here, Kurt. So, Kurt, you have to your name 3 stories that you have either correctly guessed or correctly fooled me on.
And brutal.
That's 3 stories to my 7. I'm afraid to say.
Oh no, dude! Oh no!
The situation is dire, and as we mentioned last episode, we're thinking of things to do once we reach a certain number. I think 10, and we're about to get there. So
yeah, we're gonna be there pretty quickly at this rate.
Yeah, Kurt. So better step it up, man.
I'm not giving much competition here.
It's okay. It's all right, Kurt. We'll figure something out.
So that was that. Normally I say I'm glad you enjoyed the stories, but this time I think I'll say I'm glad you enjoyed one of the stories and found the other one intriguing. And I hope everyone listening to home stuck around even after hearing me talk about this woman birthing so many rabbits.
That's true. That was the first story, so people could have jumped ship.
Yeah, I think it's probably just us at this point, Luis.
Yeah,
I think everybody turned it off. What do you want to talk about?
I don't know, Kurt.
How you been? No, get us out of here. Forget it. So if you like our podcast, even though we're absolutely a mess, please be sure to subscribe and leave us a review. Tell your friends about it. We're on Instagram at UnbelievablePod and on Twitter at UnbelievablePC. Send us any story ideas if you have them. We'd love that.
Yes, please.
So on that note, thank you, everyone, and see you next time.
See, don't follow your friends into mysterious rabbit holes.
Don't put rabbits inside you. How about that? Keep the rabbits outside of your body the way God intended.